Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's Thursday. We're going to get off the rails a little bit. My buddy Derek Richards is here. Comedian Derek Richards. How are you, buddy?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man.
Nice to come on the show. I think I was trying to. We're talking about trying to come on, and you were in I think Nashville at the time.
Yeah, I was doing the remote.
Had swung through here.
Yeah. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man.
Las Vegas, comedian. He's on Normal World a lot with Dave Landau and Quarterback Garrett and that whole team. So if he looks familiar and you've been watching any of the sketches on there, watching him co-host with Dave a few times, then that's the guy. That's the guy. I started following him a couple of years ago on Twitter, when it was Twitter. And he's putting comedy clips on there. And I think we interacted a little bit maybe on the private message thing. You slid into my DMs, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Inappropriately.
Inappropriately? Appropriately?
A man can dream.
Whatever.
A man can dream.
Late nights at a Holiday Inn Express. What do you want me to do?
Do you, as much as you travel, like I've started doing this thing called hotel reviews on my social media. And it's like I pick out the worst thing about the hotels where I stay and I make it look like I'm really slumming it, which I rarely honestly am.
Right.
I like, sometimes these places, these venues will provide a hotel for you. And it's like, yeah, I'm not staying in that. But I'll check in.
Right.
Poop in the toilet, leave it, whatever. But
because it was already done when you got there anyway.
It was there anyway. I'm just adding to the septic system.
Sure.
It's so I've started doing these little funny hotel reviews and putting them out there. And people are like, my God, why do you stay in these places? How long have you been doing comedy?
I started 30 years ago.
30 years.
But I mean, full time, it's been, I'd say 23.
Wow, that's still a veteran. That's a veteran deal, man. You've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
When you're out on the road, like, do you stay in just like some places that, you kind of are ashamed that you stayed there? And I really succumbed to that $19 hotel room.
Oh, all the time.
Just a road warrior.
I mean, places I've stayed, things I've slept with. It's all the same. There's times I would have rather dragged my uncovered manhood over the sheet of a Night's Inn, and hope for the best. But I mean, no, there's plenty of times. I mean, we're in comedy clubs. I mean, they were just these one-nighters, through the years. Then they'll stick you in a, little roadside dump that just happens to be near the club. And, once in a while you're surprised and it's clean, but more than likely it's not.
Yeah.
I've stayed in some places where, there was a hotel years ago. It was in Clarksville, Tennessee, right down the road from Fort Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
And get in there, and I'm trying to make a phone call. Couldn't make a phone call. This is before cell phones. And I called the front desk. I go, I can't get on the phone. And the lady says, well, everybody's on the phone now.
Oh, wow.
And I went, what? Huh?
Wow.
And it was a hotel that catered to a lot of construction workers. Long story short, it was a party line.
Really?
So there was only like two lines that actually went out of the hotel in a place that had like 30 rooms, single story. I mean, just you can see how you look under the every hotel in No Country for Old Men.
Yes, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
I can remember talking about Tennessee. I can remember I used to travel through and I'd stop in like Jackson, Tennessee, and I'd stay at the Old Hickory Inn. I'll get some messages about this because I guarantee that place is still there. You could get a room there for $21.95. You could eat a $3 sirloin in the bar, sing karaoke, and sleep with the bartender, and drink all night, and still not spend $30 on the whole deal.
Including her.
Including her, if it was a her. But I did all of those things. I mean, it's a definite one of those flip the mattress, because damn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wrote a song and put it out on my album in 2020 called Motel 6, and I was based off of that experience staying at the Old Hickory Inn. And I've stayed in some scary, scary places, man. Scary places. But I'll keep doing it because it's an adventure.
I'll keep doing it too. You really, really need to bring something nasty to the table for me to go, okay. I mean, if I'm traveling with, a significant other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, we're not
here to impress you, baby.
I'm not. Yeah, don't mind the cigarette burns and this yellow stain.
Right. That's mine. I think you'll just tell her that it's mine. I promise, it's mine.
You don't smoke, whatever.
Yeah. Bro, but it's a mess. And people say, why do you do that? And I'm like, look, here's the thing. I am a gig person. I go out there. People say, God, you travel a lot. I'm like, well, if I'm going to keep going to these cities and they got a check with my name on them, I'm going to show up and pick them up, pick up those checks. And I'd kind of like to save as much money along the way.
Right.
Because travel is expensive, especially these days. And they're like, don't we pay you enough? I'll see smart asses online. Don't we pay you enough? No, you don't. No, you don't.
No,
I want to keep it. I want to keep all the dimes. So anyway, I want
to keep all the money just because, you know, we've got about 3 weeks left to live.
That's it. We're always at that point. Who's your World War III? Who's coming out on top? What do you think? It's not us.
Oh, no.
It's not us. We're pussies.
No. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take the wild card. If I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna see what MGM has.
Okay.
For their
see what the odds are.
Caesar Sportsbook, and I think Lebanon is like plus 900 right now.
There you go. You
to be victorious in World War III.
Put a few bucks on that.
Plus 900. $100 will win me 900.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be dead. I can't collect it.
The Vegas War Book.
Syria's probably about plus 800.
Man, if I know I got a big payout coming, I'll be like a cockroach. I'll find something to hide under this bomb-proof, and I'll be at Glenn Beck's house, you know, because he's got a big, deep hole somewhere. Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's like we're living in the weirdest world that I don't think people understand how dire some of these circumstances are. Because we've been first world safety and security for so long as a country. And these people who have never contributed anything to that reality are now taken to the streets and protesting, yelling at the sky, screaming, and they're bitching about everything because something didn't, their latte wasn't warm enough or something, or they got their name wrong on the Starbucks cup. People are offended and pissed off by everything.
Right.
That's why I know we're not going to make it.
No.
We're not in the Book of Revelation.
Who's your winner? World War III.
Oh, I don't know.
Who you picking?
I don't know. I got to go with China. I think China's the odds-on favorite all the way across the board. I mean, I see videos like last week. I see these kids, and they're in elementary school or whatever they call it over there. They're in their little indoctrination camps, and those kids they got little Glock 19s, and they're breaking them all apart and putting them all back together. These kids, and then they're running them over ramps and diving through tunnels and learning how to shoot and launching mortars and shit like this. And these are 8-year-olds.
And putting Petri dishes together with the COVID-20 and COVID-21 virus.
And little Air Fauci is standing over top of them going, 9!
Which is hilarious that he's yelling at him in German.
I know, but you get the point.
But they
understood that.
They teach them 5 languages over there.
They know it all.
Exactly.
And even the old people are out there. They're doing calisthenics and stuff on the rooftop, and they're all in unison.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's their lunch break. And we're over here taking siestas. We do that now because we're all Mexican.
Well, a lot of us are now.
A lot of us are. Millions.
Yes.
Millions. But then I saw a thing. Remember when COVID broke out and they were like sealing people in their house and stuff? And like, as far as we know, they're still sealed up in those apartments. They weren't letting them out.
They're still sealed up.
They're still
no
sealed
wellness
up.
checks.
Yeah.
No one cares.
And but then people can eat anything, so they've probably survived.
Right.
I mean, but then I remember they were running the drones over these people walking through their villages in China, and they're stepping out and walking there, and they're like, bang, 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 which is like, go home. And they're kind of smiling and waving at the little drone.
Is it now? That's your... The beauty is I have no frame of reference to argue with you on that. You're like, is that what that means?
It sounded kind of Russian. But that sounds kind of Vietnamese.
You already had Fauci as a Nazi.
Yeah.
Yelling at Chinese children.
Yeah.
So this isn't that far off base.
I like to mix my nationalities and cultures.
Well, you gotta listen. Follow your demographics.
Yeah, and I think China's the odds on. I think at this point in time, yeah, if you're betting black.
Yeah, China's like minus 120. Right
now.
Like
the Kansas City Chiefs.
With the spread.
They're like the Kansas City Chiefs. But no, I don't know, man. It's like it's a crazy world. Nobody realizes just how crazy it is, I don't think.
No.
And then you have, speaking of China, it's amazing to me how people suddenly are so pro-Palestine and pro-Muslim, I guess, with this whole thing going on with Israel. But they have never said anything about the Muslim Uyghur slaves in China. Like, they've never had any of those marches. Those are the people who make these iPhones.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. They've never, it's like, free Palestine, but you've never said anything about Uyghurs. Nothing.
You couldn't even...
I have to look up how to spell Uyghur when I'm trying to spell it out on something. It's not as easy as you think.
These people can't find Palestine on a map.
No.
Seriously, if it wasn't shoved in your face in every news outlet, you're like, oh, that's the Gaza Strip?
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, I thought that was Nigeria. A whole other part of the southern part of the western part of the continent there.
Yes.
Ah, man. We're stupid people, though. And you know how people get so damn triggered, Derek, over we just make fun of things.
Right.
And we have fun making fun of things. People can't handle it.
No, they can't.
They can't handle it. So
no, not at all. I think the biggest thing that I noticed too is whenever anybody is going to take some pro-Palestine or whatever stance they want to take. I mean, nobody spends 10 minutes going on YouTube or whatever to find some historical reference to at least educate yourself, so you don't sound like a complete DEFCON 5 waterhead. You know. I mean, at least educate yourself to some extent. Then if you sound like a moron, go ahead and do that. Yeah. But I mean, for the love of humanity, I mean, at least read a little.
History, don't even get me started on that. They're definitely not reading those books or paying any attention to that stuff. So.
Well, you mean the history books that we read, or the ones that are
coming out now,
where we took out all the mean white people?
All the mean white people.
Yeah.
I saw the other day where they did a recruiting commercial for the Army. They're jumping out of the planes. They're doing, war training stuff, and it was all white dudes. It was all straight white dudes doing it, and I was like, we're definitely going to World War III. Like if they're advertising for just straight white dudes to recruit that, they're not going after the woke agenda. They're not diversity hires or nothing like that. We're definitely going to World War III. That's where we're at.
Everything that we focus on right now, like they changed. I didn't even know this. They changed the name of Fort Benning.
Yeah,
in Georgia.
They did.
I didn't even know this. My buddy's son was going through special forces training, and he's like, "I was in Georgia." And I go, "Fort Benning." He goes, "Oh, no, not Fort Benning now." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that they changed it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, like birthplace of the Army Rangers, dude. Fort Benning. I mean, it's not Fort Benning anymore.
The big red one. And now, and now we've got to change the name because whatever. And I'm like,
well, they did the same thing with Fort Hood in Killeen, Texas.
Right.
They changed that. And it's woke, baby. It's woke. It's very understanding. I saw the other day where the FBI had a recruiting tent out, and it was a pride tent.
An FBI recruiting tent?
With pride flags and everything on that deal. We need to
where was
look
this
that image up.
Was this at a strip mall with like a...
No, it was like out in the field.
Tent, and then like a Mint Mobile tent, the most ghetto cell phone you can get your hands on.
Right. Welcome to Boost Mobile.
And then a food truck. And the FBI recruiting tent's right in the middle of them.
In a jewelry store run by. You will love this. It's guaranteed.
Gold chain by the foot.
Yeah. Click.
$3.99.
It's like buying rope or link chain at the Home Depot.
Pocket on the way home. Turns green from the sweat coming off of your nutsack.
You can handle the water, but do not get it near it. That is, but they did. They had the tent out there, and I need to look that up because I saw it just the other day, and I was
Where was this at?
I don't know. I got to go back and read it.
That's funny.
This is what makes me undependable as a journalist.
No, this actually makes you very credible as a journalist.
Yeah. And I go, I don't know. I don't know, but I saw it.
I saw it. It was somewhere. Yeah. It happened.
I'm going to look that thing up at the break, but anyway. All right, hang on. We got to take a break. Speaking of that, and I want to find out where that deal is. Where are we at? There's a lot to be nervous about out there. We just talked about a lot of it. You look at social media, and all you see is crime. You got societal decay. A lot of people run out and buy a gun, and then they just put it in a safe or put it in a closet somewhere. They don't train with it. If there's an emergency, you're not going to be prepared, and you're going to risk hurting yourself or somebody that you don't mean to hurt. So you need to train, and you need to do it often. You need to get good at it. So it's time-consuming when you have to go to the range. It's expensive. Ammo prices through the roof. iTarget was invented so you could practice anytime in the safety and convenience of your own home. You download the iTarget Pro app, load your caliber-specific laser bullet into your firearm, and start training. You practice alone, compete with friends. You can train friends with it if they're new to firearms. Go to itargetpro.com. Get 10% off at checkout when you use offer code CHAD. I spell it Chad. It is the smartest, safest way to train, which is why competitive shooters trust dry fire training. It's part of their regimen. Get yours today. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. itargetpro.com, offer code Chad. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. My buddy, Derek Richards here. DerekRichards.com. He's a funny comedian.
What's happening, man?
He flew in from Vegas, baby.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. How you been?
I'm doing well.
I saw on your schedule coming up, I think November 22nd, if I get it right. Right there at Thanksgiving, you're going to be in Port Charlotte at the Vasani.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of our
buddies
common favorite places down there, which is great. Vasani in Port Charlotte, November 22nd, and then 24th and 25th. So no show on Thanksgiving, but Wednesday and then Friday, Saturday. So.
You know, do you find that doing comedy over the years, and if you ever get a chance to go to the Vasani, and you should go when Derek's there in Port Charlotte, go. That's a great menu.
Yeah.
Great food's great. They take care of you. I mean, that's a better run place. It looks like a little castle on the side of the road.
It really is. 200
cool
some seat theater, which
Beautiful.
is, I mean, just intimate. They're right on top of you. It's it's just it's a fun hang.
Have you found that historically, like Thanksgiving weekend, like Black Friday, and then the Saturday after, is that good for you for comedy?
I haven't really.
You ever thought about it like that? Holidays doing comedy?
I mean, New Year's is always its own little dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a and I'm never a huge fan of doing holiday parties at comedy clubs because, whenever you're doing a show and it's regular people like, you and your date come in, but then also the local Chevy dealership came in.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, whatever you do, don't make jokes about Chevy. And you're like, oh, okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah. Did I tell you, we were talking about places we've gone a couple of Mondays ago. Folds of Honor, which is huge. They had me up to speak at a fundraiser. They wanted me to come do comedy. And they said, but you can't talk about Bud Light. Because Budweiser's a huge sponsor for them forever. And they said, we might have some executives there.
Oh, boy, yeah.
They said, don't talk about Bud Light. And I said, I wasn't thinking about doing Bud Light. We got there and they said, the only rule is no Bud Light. And I was like, you keep telling me. And I'm wanting to do it. Now I want to say a lot of jokes about Bud Light. And they did. They had the Budweiser displays out there in the venue. I was like, wow.
Did you say anything or did you back away from it?
I let it go.
Okay.
Trust me when I tell you, Folds of Honor has deep pockets.
Yeah.
It's a good organization. They have deep pockets, so I don't want to piss them off. They've been friends for a long time, and I love when they call. But holidays are weird. Like, you go out and do live shows. Thanksgiving weekend has always been good for me because I think people are tired of their family shit. They're ready to go out and do something.
No, I agree. I mean, especially like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is always a slammed bar night anyway.
Yeah.
Because everybody comes into town to see family and friends and reconnect with people, and so they end up going out and drinking and having a good time. And the weekend I think ends up. You're right. I mean, that's why movie theaters are packed on Christmas night because people are so sick and tired of family and dealing with their garbage.
They want to go sleep off the tryptophan from the turkey or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've done shows on like Christmas Eve before. Like actually on the holiday, and I'm like, that doesn't work.
You, how long have, like the only holiday, I will say this, and it's not really a holiday, the only time I won't touch, Halloween. People aren't going out on Halloween. They're too busy with the kids and the trick-or-treaters and the whole thing. That's the only time I won't mess with it.
No, they don't. I was in Vegas doing a show on Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, over at the MGM, and it was there were people wandering around the casino, but it wasn't like anybody was doing anything.
Yeah.
And like every comedy club in Vegas was just really...
Vegas is wild, but I bet it could get real wild if you go to the right spots on Halloween. Like, that's the one time of the year girls can let out their inner slut and put on those costumes that are really...
Well, yeah, they're always the slutty nurse.
Yeah.
Or the slutty librarian.
I love them.
Or the slutty auto mechanic. I don't know how many slutty auto mechanics you've seen roaming around.
That's not oil I'm covered in.
Over it.
That's tranny fluid. We call it Bud Light.
From an actual tranny.
Yeah.
Which makes it even better.
Oh, my God. Oh.
No, but you're right. Halloween in Vegas, really like the weekend leading up to it. Because this year Halloween was weird. It felt like on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And so like the weekend leading up to it is where it's really, really crazy. But you're right. Yeah, Halloween in Vegas can be a complete disaster.
I can only imagine. Vegas is a mess.
Especially on Fremont Street, old Vegas.
Oh, that's the truth.
Down by the Golden Nugget and
the
Four Queens and
I got a buddy of mine. I say he's a buddy. He's a guy I used to know. We were out for Finals Rodeo. That's always a big time in December, the National Finals Rodeo.
Huge.
And I'll never forget this guy. He comes running up to me and he goes, we're on Fremont. And he goes, I got some cocaine. And I go, from where? And he goes, this guy over here. I said, you gonna trust that, huh? And he goes into the bathroom. He comes running out. He comes running out on Freeman. He's like, I'm picking a tuna up. He's like, I'm so pissed off. And I was like, what? He goes, it was Sweet and Low. He went to the bathroom and snorted artificial sweetener.
Oh, man.
Paid $100
Did
for
a
it.
line of aspartame.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's hysterical.
Yeah. So it's probably more pure than the cocaine you would have gotten down here.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I had a buddy of mine who used to work a door at one of the comedy clubs that was down on Fremont Street.
Yeah.
And the guy shows up, and he hands him an edible, hands him a brownie.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, here, he goes, I can't, just somebody coming into the show. He goes, here's a brownie for you. And I look at him and I go, you didn't eat that, did you? And he goes, oh, yeah. Wow. I go, the whole thing? And he's like, why not?
Oh, my God.
And then he texts me at like 3 a.m. and he goes, I am wide awake watching Schindler's List. Eating this edible was the worst idea ever. I'm like, why would you watch Schindler of all the movies that you could potentially watch while you're going to be flying on some edible that some creepo gave you at a club?
Wow.
I mean, Caddyshack, Airplane.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't want a strain of weed that leads me back to the Holocaust. I don't need any of that, dude. None of that. The Undertaker, the professional wrestler, he's retired now, Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, he's a buddy. He was telling us a story. He went out there, and one of his ex-wives, he was out there, and he said he was out all night. He was supposed to take his wife out for dinner and all this kind of stuff. And I forget what he said. He went out and got messed up one night. He found Jesus. He's away from all of that stuff now. But he said he came in at like 5 o'clock in the morning, knew his wife was going to be pissed. He said, so he went into the bathroom and pulled his pants down around his ankles and just like took his shirt off and took a bunch of spare change and dollar bills and scattered them around and just fell out in the floor like he'd passed out so that she would think that he came home. I was like just like a dead possum, just lay there, And he said she got up, peeked in the bathroom, and then he heard the door. She just left. Like he laid there for like 2 hours. He was committed to the ruse, man.
He staged his own crime scene?
He staged his own crime scene.
That's great.
Here's a 6'10" wrestler who, goes by the Undertaker.
Yeah. Change, gum wrappers, napkins, whatever.
He said that's how messed up he was. Vegas, my point is Vegas does things to people.
It does.
And how is it living there? I mean, I've talked to some people, and they're like, it's a pretty conservative place if you get off the strip.
Yeah, it's pretty chill. I mean, I live in Henderson, so I'm about 20 minutes away from all the chaos and pandemonium, so I'm close enough to it where I can get to it. And obviously to go work there, which is, super easy to swing down there and knock out shows and then come back home. But one of the funniest things, and I was going to mention this because we were just talking about, you mentioned the rodeo. I remember working at the MGM when the rodeo was happening years ago. And I don't know how MGM booking thought this was a great idea, but they booked Andrea Bocelli.
Okay.
At the MGM Grand Garden Arena. MGM was one of the host hotels for the rodeo. So you've got all these cowboys coming in, Texas, Oklahoma, Montana, Kansas, just getting lit in the bar area. And then the Andrea Bocelli show lets out.
Wow.
So you're seeing these people in tuxedos, and it looked like everybody from Trading Places, like Mortimer Duke and his brother and their wives. Yeah. And just these good old boys with the belt buckles and the Stetsons, the whole shot, just getting lit and throwing back shots. These people were just like walking by scared.
Dude,
it was so funny. I'm like, why did you not? Why
you
was
would think
this
you would
the
think
booking?
through that. You would think you would think through that. And Bocelli didn't see any of that.
He didn't see none of it.
Yeah, he's the blind one, right?
Yes, 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 he is.
I'm trying to get my tenors straight.
I like how you qualified that. He didn't see it. He's a blind one, right?
He is the blind tenor, right?
He is the blind one, right? Okay.
He didn't see shit. I always tell the joke about Ronnie Millsap. He quit skydiving because he scared the shit out of his dog. Poor CNI dog.
So wrong.
You're talking about mixing, categories there. We were out there for National Finals Rodeo, and then the Conor McGregor fight was happening, and so every man on the island of Ireland came to Vegas for that fight. Mm-hmm. So there were 10,000 Cowboys, 10,000 Irishmen, and you thought that was going to be a shit show, but they all got along. Apparently both found camaraderie in whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. I didn't hear but one fight that happened in a bathroom, but MGM was covered with Cowboys and Irishmen.
Cowboys and mix. Oh my God, that would be great. The only time there's ever problems in Vegas is when there's a boxing match.
Yeah.
And if it's a
say it.
If it's a black fighter,
there it is,
and a Hispanic fighter,
there it is.
That is right there. That is literally, people will call off their shifts at MGM because there will be
it's going to be
some stuff's going down.
I wonder why that is. George? George, get your people.
Is he?
Get your people, George. We all know it's the Hispanics and the blacks. Good God. Close the border. Around Nevada. Oh, Lord have mercy.
I can see the Irishmen and the Cowboys getting along.
They get along
just
great.
fine. Absolutely.
I was not expecting it to go well.
Yeah.
But I know the ones I hung around with, we were all going, oh, hey, oh, hey. I don't even know what that shit is. I thought we were at a soccer match.
That's a soccer match.
You know? I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm Irish. I'm not, but I pretend to be. I drink like one. All right, let's go to a break. I want to keep talking some more to Derek. Hang on, let me get to the right one here. Oh, you already got me set up. Hey, guys, you got to clean your guns. You know that. We talk about it every single day. It's a dirty job, but it's a responsible part of being a gun owner. And I found the most efficient way that you can clean your guns is by using Barrel Buddy. Barrel Buddy is safer. It is cheaper. It is cooler. It's easier. Barrel Buddy compresses to fill the interior of your gun's barrel. It makes sure to clean the rifling grooves. It comes in all the different sizes to match any caliber firearm you might own. And they're composed of the polymers that won't leave behind the residual, the lint and the particles, so it's safer as well. It scrubs, it collects the particulates, it absorbs any remaining residue, it buffs the interior surface clean, and you can use it to lubricate your firearm as well. So, you know how important it is to clean those guns and be ready at all times. Be a responsible gun owner. Get Barrel Buddy. It's a new concept, better concept, safer way to take care of your firearms. So get some. You're going to love them, I promise. Go to barrelbuddy.com. That's barrelbuddy.com. We'll be right back. Let me look it up because I want to get it right. And I know it. So you can go to DerekRichards.com.
Yes, sir.
And you can go to let me spell it, COMEDN. So it's like comedian, a little play on the word.
Correct.
D Richards. COMEDN. Comedian. D Richards. You can do that on Twitter and Instagram. And like he was saying, he's got Port Charlotte there in that sunny western coast of Florida. And then November 27th through the 3rd, he's at the Comedy Cellar in Vegas. So go see him. I started following you. God, it's been a couple of years now because you were posting your clips on Twitter and stuff like that. I was like, this dude is funny.
Yeah,
he's
thank
funny,
you so much.
funny. And I was like, yeah. And you get it. Like, you're not woke.
As far away as you can possibly imagine from woke.
It's funny how we find each other. It's funny how we find one another, right?
What was so funny is because I had heard of you from playing at venues that that we'd be crossing paths. I mean, you'd be there before I was, or vice versa. And Visani, the people down there, Eric and the whole crew in Port Charlotte. Because I had asked, I was just talking with him, and I go, how's Chad Prather do here with you guys? And he goes, oh, Chad's awesome, he's great, blah blah blah. We have a great time with him, blah blah. And then I had, and everybody else that was working there was saying nothing but great things about you. And I'm like, oh, this was cool. So it was just perfect timing that I ended up running into you here at Blaze, like a few months later.
Yeah.
So
because I saw you across the thing, I think you'd come in to do Normal World, and I saw you across the thing. I was like, I know that guy.
Yeah,
I know that guy. And you never know who you're going to encounter in this building. So,
I know.
It's so funny, which is a cool thing. It's a little perk of the deal. But I was glad that we finally connected and you were able to come on a little bit. I want you to watch a clip. I want to get your reaction to this thing. It's weird to me that I keep saying Bill Maher is becoming our voice of reason.
I know, right?
But he can get away. He can say anything because he's a liberal.
Right.
So he can say it, right? He pisses him off. But anyway, he had my favorite non-scientist on Neil deGrasse Tyson. Who another black guy, which I mean, again, if he goes to Vegas, there's going to be a problem.
Only if some of Georgia's people show up.
Only
apparently.
if there's a Mexican non-scientist to show up too.
If there's a scientist with a sombrero,
they're gonna be sticking Bunsen burners up each other's ass or something. God, you haven't seen a melee till you've been to the science fair. Yeah.
A Mexican science fair.
Can you imagine? They're industrious people, though.
They are.
They really are.
People.
They're going to stick with the project until they come to the conclusion. I mean, that's their science. It's like we dug a hole, senor, but no, now we go over. Too much cement, man. We go over. Boy, I love it. Play this clip of Bill Maher and the black guy.
Surely there's a portfolio of jokes that would still work on a college campus. Surely.
I would hope not. From what maybe some college campuses, the ones you read about are fucking insane.
You've given up on an entire generation, and you don't know how to make them laugh.
I have given up on any place that doesn't even remotely attempt to believe in free speech, and thinks that anything that they hear that they don't like, that they don't agree with, is violence. These people are fucking nuts, and you should be calling them out. Somebody like you, who has standing with kids, should be not joining them.
When there's a science
you're doing what
to it.
You're doing what parents do. You're taking the path of least resistance, and therefore hurting the kids and yourself. Parents ruin both their lives. They ruin their fucking spoiled kids' lives, and they ruin their own lives because the kids rule the roost. So that's what you're doing on a national level.
I'm feeling more like on the porch. Get off my lawn.
Really? I feel like we're in the barbershop.
Damn. Damn.
Wow.
So he's obviously talking about places he won't go do comedy.
Right.
What about you? There are places you won't go?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will never do a show at a college campus.
Me either.
Ever. I mean, I
won't do it.
Like he was just saying, I mean, that is literally the last place that you can speak freely about anything.
Yeah.
If it's against whatever the narrative is that they're shoving down the kids, down the kids' throats.
The last college campus I did was Texas A&M. It was fine. But I might as well have been on campus was in Missoula, Montana. And that was like death threat central.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's like a little California. They're in Montana. And it was bad.
I had heard parts of that.
Yeah.
Of Montana were like that. And,
Missoula's horrible.
Interesting.
All these little rich kids from L.A., their daddies sent them to college up there, and they're woke. And I was like, yeah, it's it's basically like doing a college theater. It wasn't on campus, but it was right there.
Right.
So I was in the college newspaper. They were protesting me. They were wanting
before your arrival?
Oh, yeah.
They were doing,
and they were sending messages. They were really trying to, and the venue guy, the buyer, he was like, dude, do we need more security? I was like, not from these pussies. I'm good.
This isn't like legit Montana people.
No.
These are, no.
I was like, the guys I got with me are fine. So it was okay.
I won't do a college campus, and I also won't do, I work some cruise ships from time to time, but I won't do any of the family-friendly shows on a cruise ship.
That's good.
Because
I see that, yeah.
Well, and I have no issue doing corporate events.
Right.
Yeah, I'm an adult that likes to talk to adults, but if you've been on a cruise ship when they have the family-friendly shows, there's 5- and 6-year-olds crawling all over each other in the front row, and not like they can understand what comedy is anyway. You can put the cleanest comedian in front of these little shits, and they're not going to know anything.
Yeah.
Take Brian Regan, you can put Jim Gaffigan, who are hilarious and super clean, but these kids aren't going to get it.
Not going to get it.
And the parents are always looking for something. And there's always somebody who's like the ultra clean family friendly show on a cruise ship seems to be just what the Karens of the world look for. Mm-hmm. And they're waiting for the gotcha moment to get you and then go to the guest services and try to get a free cruise out of it. Like a buddy of mine was doing a family friendly show, did a innocuous Kamala Harris joke. Yeah. Some lady went to guest services and said the comedian was making fun of black women. That is how this was processed in this person's jacked up head. Wow. And they don't really think of the damage that can do to that comedian with that cruise line.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden everybody gets on guard. Now he's got to recite the joke to corporate. They got to pull tapes from the show to make.
Boy.
Oh yeah, it's a process. And I'm like,
I know a lot of cruise ship comedians, and I was in Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and one of my music guys, buddies, he goes, why don't you do cruise ships? And I was like, no, not yet. Like, no. And he goes, but that would be a sweet gig. You're like around new people all the time, and maybe you've good-looking women on vacation. I said, you don't understand how cruise gigs work. You can't interact with the guests like that. I mean, you can get a lot of trouble real quick. And I said, and then, like you said, if you go out there and you say one joke that's misinterpreted because people are, what did you mean by that? I mean, the nuance is lost or the sarcasm is lost, and then it's they call it the 6 o'clock knock, where you're off the boat.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're in Cozumel and I'm leaving? Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
I didn't know this is now.
You're not welcome on the Carnival Breeze anymore.
This is Galveston? No, this isn't Galveston. You're just out of here now. But
we have a hard job. That's the point of this.
Well, exactly. But what's funny, too, is how people will pull stuff out of different jokes and create their own little narrative.
Yeah.
Like I had done a joke, and it was made fun of. It was a transgender joke.
Yeah.
Harmless, no big deal. Nobody can. I had a trans person at the show came up and said that was funny. But then I do a joke about, here's a great spot on board to take your kids. If you have shitty kids, there's a place, that I open up on all the cruise lines, and I go, it's in the back of the ship, it's up top, it's on deck 16, it opens at 9 p.m., it's called Camp Overboard. And I go, bring your shitty kids, bring someone else with shitty kids. I don't check your room keys, And so someone went to guest services and said the comedian was talking about throwing trans people overboard. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. That is how jacked up our water supply is. It's climate change.
It's climate change.
It's climate change.
It's COVID. It's white supremacy.
Yes.
It's nationalism. It's Trump, and it's climate change.
Yeah.
It's all of those things.
Not necessarily in that order.
Not in that order.
Just depends what day it is.
That's funny, dude. But they'll interpret anything. We did a show this past weekend in Tulsa, and there was this couple, middle-aged couple. They were sitting there, front and center, and they were bound and determined this was going to be no fun for them. Like they had made up their mind this wasn't going to be fun or funny. And so I came off, I asked my opener, Jesse, I said, did you see that couple? He goes, oh my God, bro, were they that for you too? He said, I thought it was just me. Like, no, you egotist. They just weren't having fun. So it's hard. It's hard. But he's right. Bill Maher, back to that point. What he's basically saying is, hey, call these people out. Nobody wants to call anybody out. And Neil deGrasse Tyson probably could tell them, say, hey, loosen up a little bit. Loosen up a little bit. But I'm not. If Jerry Seinfeld's not going to do a college campus, Chris Rock's not going to do a college campus, I'm not doing one.
I don't think they listen.
No.
They don't listen. They don't. Neil deGrasse Tyson could say whatever he wanted, but it's the old Mark Twain saying, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them they've been fooled.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Once these people have had this, drilled into their heads for so long, he can talk about it all day long, and that it's not going to change anything. And and even now, like I do shows on cruise ships now, the adult shows. There's a line that I work where they just have ships that have adult comedy shows on them, and I'll do that, and you can see people in the crowd. You can tell the ones that are like a ship out of Galveston is awesome.
Yeah,
boat full of drunk Texans all day long. I'll take that every single day. But you get some, you can see people in the crowd. You can see the purple hair.
Yeah.
You can see it's like a lighthouse flashing at you.
Right.
A lighthouse of wokeness. And you can just see, and you can just hear.
It's true.
You can just hear all their medication getting sucked in their ass, whatever the hell they're taking, or whatever SSRI is jacking them up. And you can feel that temperature with some people. I mean, obviously your crowds come to see you. They know what they're getting into.
They do, yeah.
But on a cruise ship,
it's like, hey, it's hodgepodge.
Hey, comedy. Door opens, boom.
This past weekend, I had a guy who came, and he was wearing one of my hats and stuff, and I saw him. I waved him over. We got to go to a break here in a second. And he comes over, and he said, I tried to come to see you last time you were in Tulsa, but she wouldn't come with me. And he points at his wife, and I said, are you anti-fun? And she goes, I'm anti-you.
Whoa!
I was like, fair. Some days I am, too. Enjoy the show, ma'am. I got to go to break. Hey, listen, since the early days of Blaze, we've been fortunate to work with Relief Factor. They're pretty cool, man. They brought this unknown anti-inflammatory to the marketplace years ago. They tested it in their hometown of Seattle, another place I won't do a show. It had shown Everett. Yes, I'll go up to Everett.
Everett's good.
Everett's good, but I'm not Seattle. Anyway,
Everett's not Seattle.
But it showed a remarkable ability to reduce pain for a lot of different types of chronic ailments. I love Relief Factor. I take Relief Factor. It's an all-natural alternative to pain medications. I trust it to keep me pain-free. Inflammation is not only the chief cause of pain, but it's a factor in a lot of other diseases as well, and they keep your inflammation markers in check. Hundreds of thousands of people are ordering Relief Factor every month. 70% keep on reordering it because it works, and you can get a trial pack right now for $19.95. See if it works for you. I bet it will. Go over to relieffactor.com or call them 800-4-RELIEF. That's relieffactor.com. We'll be right back. All right. We don't have a picture of this because I didn't prepare these boys. In the A block, we were talking about the Federal Bureau of Investigation setting up a tent to recruit.
Recruiting tent, yeah.
And they received some major backlash on social media. They set up the recruitment tent at a Pride event in North Carolina. and it's the Charlotte branch of the FBI. And you could see, I'll show you, Derek. There's the little tent right there. And they got the little pride flags hanging all around the perimeter of the thing, and they got wow, they are recruiting. I think they call that grooming.
Probably.
They're going to groom some gays to be agents for the FBI.
And
they're going to go undercover.
Why would they? It's like all of a sudden, if that's your lifestyle, now you see the flag.
Yeah.
And they go, hang on. I thought these guys were homophobes the whole time.
Yeah.
Come on, Satchel, let's join. Grab your sequins. We're going to Langley or Quantico, wherever the hell it's at.
I did not know the FBI was so woke. We're going to go learn Arabic as a second language, and we're going to go to law school and pass the bar, and then we're going to come back and be special agents for the FBI. I don't know if people know that or not, but like to be an FBI agent, that's kind of really all they look for anymore is lawyers with other languages, specifically Arabic.
Yeah.
They love it if you know Arabic. Mm-hmm. So, but no, you can just be gay now.
Who knew?
You don't have to pass the bar. Just suck on one.
You could.
I'm so ashamed, but it's true. Oh boy!
Bring your assless chaps.
Yeah.
Welcome to the FBI.
You want to know where I keep my pistol?
You
right by my dick.
There's a bar in Vegas, and it was right across the street from this like one of the classic dive bars in Vegas called the Double Down Saloon, which is an absolute, you would love it.
Okay.
It's a train wreck.
Yeah.
But you got to go. I mean, you go in there and you can probably catch HPV through your boots.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I can see you getting excited about this.
Yeah.
So across the street there is a bar, and it's a gay bar. Me and these three dudes are walking to the Double Down. This guy's getting thrown out of the gay bar across the street, and he's wearing cowboy boots and a thong.
Wow.
And the bouncer's throwing him out, and the guy goes, my friends are inside. And he goes, I don't know what to tell you. And he goes, I didn't bring in my phone. And the bouncer looks down, and the guy's got the cowboy boots and the thong. And he goes, should have thought about that before, cowboy. And I mean, me and the other three dudes walking into the Double Down are dying laughing.
Oh, wow.
It was just a scene out of a movie that there's no way you could recreate that under any situation, but it was classic.
That's funny. I don't want to wrestle with a naked dude. Doc, did you see that video from last week where that cop gets beat up by the naked guy, and then the guy steals his truck? It's a patrol car. With the whole thing. Did you see that clip? That was in Vegas. I did not see that clip. It happened in Vegas.
That didn't surprise me.
It happened in Vegas. They get into a little wrestling match. This cop is completely out of shape, of course. And it's a naked guy. He can't get a grip on him. And a guy wrestles him to the ground, gets up, jumps in the truck, and drives off with it. Sirens blazing.
What do you do as that cop?
Yeah, you don't go back to work. You don't go to where any of your buddies live.
You don't go back to your no
bars.
No, you find the biggest bottle of fentanyl and just eat it all.
I'm gonna need to go into the evidence lab and grab a bag here. Yeah,
and
I'm not coming out.
I'm checking out.
Yeah,
this is it.
It's pretty humiliating. And that video caught a lot of social media flack of people said, why aren't cops in shape anymore? I mean, they're just it was humiliating. Mm-hmm. It'd be hard to wrestle a naked man, though, because you don't really know where to grab.
I mean, tough. You do, but you don't
just
want
don't
to.
Want to.
Right. You're like, this is the obvious.
I don't want to.
But this is so hack if I grab him there.
Did you see, we talked about this earlier in the week, that California spent $4 million on prisoner sex changes, and some of them were actually on death row? Like they vaginoplasties, new tits, cutting tits off, facial reconstruction, the whole thing.
You can see the zero surprise look on my face
California.
when you said California spent $4 million on this.
California. 11 male prisoners got titties. That's amazing.
Before they died?
No, that was 4 death row inmates that received sex change surgeries, though.
I thought you just got a meal.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it included.
One would think, but apparently this one comes with pink champagne.
I would enjoy a tighter ass and a vagine.
You know, when they give me the serum in my veins and I shit myself, I want it to come from the prettiest little rump.
Can you make this balloon not sparkle before I die?
I'm going to shit the brightest glitter.
Make my leather Cheerio blink.
Oh, my gosh. You know, think that Blaze spends so much money on Normal World, and here we are doing it for free. Comedy gold, Derek. All right. We got one more short little segment. We're going to wrap this thing up. Hang tight, guys. Are you ready for a health revelation that could change your life? Listen. It's the modern age, and more important than ever to take care of your liver. You want to ask, why should I? It's simple. Well, your liver is what takes care of you. 5 key functions every single day greatly affect how you look, how you feel, weight management, energy levels, cholesterol, hormone health, brain health, all of it. The problem is we are in a silent health epidemic. South Carolina, Indiana, Massachusetts, Arizona, Virginia, Florida, Texas. You know what they have in common? You combine them all together, you still wouldn't have the 100 million Americans that have a sluggish, fatty liver that makes people gain weight and experience chronic fatigue. So, listen, do something about it. Try the product that I recommend, Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement packed with clinically proven botanicals to help you recharge and protect your liver. You can go to my dedicated page. You will get a free bottle of nano-powered omega-3. That's a total discount of 64%. Not going to find this offer anywhere else, so order today at getliverhelp.com/Chad. That's getliverhelp.com/Chad. A healthy liver is a happier you. We'll be right back. Brother, I had fun with you.
Man, had a blast. Thanks for having me.
Do this anytime.
Absolutely.
Anytime you're in town. Quit schlumming over there with Landau. Come hang out with me. Here's what I'm trying to get them to do. I want to do like the Addison Improv or something. I want me, you, and Landau to go do a show.
Let's do it.
On an off night.
Make it happen.
I told Allie and them, I said, make some calls. Let's make that thing happen.
You know people.
I don't know.
You're here all the time? That would be a blast.
It'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, just do it on an off night and have fun. Check out his schedule, DerekRichards.com, and go see him if you got a chance. Go down there at Vasani, eat you some good Italian food there, and catch a great show in Port Charlotte, Florida. Derek Richards. Follow him on all the socials. Comedian, that's D-N. D Richards. I messed that all up. C-O-M-E-D-N.
Because I literally would...
D. Richards.
I tried to put Derek Richards on the thing.
Yeah, it's hard.
And it's like some real estate guy in England.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I got to try to find some word mashup that sort of makes sense. But if you go to my website, derekrichards.com, you can find all my socials.
And we're going to put it on the lower third here, too, so everybody can see. You see it down there. Go get it. Go get it, guys. Hey, don't forget to check out, we're premiering The Blind here, which, of course, is the story of Phil Robertson. It's a great story. If you haven't seen it at the theaters, you'll be able to check it out now for purchase on Blaze TV. So do that. Subscribe to blazetv.com and use promo code Chad Plus, PLUS. It's a sign up and save $36 on an annual subscription. My website, watchchad.com, for all the fun stuff is. We will see you later. Love you. God bless you. Bye.